Welcome, everybody, to this week's Cannabis Career Question Sessions. We do this every Tuesday. We answer your cannabis career-related questions. We learn from leaders. I'll introduce you to some brands. We can look at some opportunities. My name is Jeff Poseel. I am the Chief Community Officer of EzHire Cannabis, the Indeed for weed. We are a software platform dedicated to helping candidates and clients build their cannabis brands through the people that are going to be working in them. So from a cannabis candidate side of things, we are talking to the people who want to get into the industry or to want to learn more about it to level up their career in the industry. This we have found to be very helpful to have a group setting. However, once you create your EzHire Cannabis account, I am more than willing to hop on one-on-one, help you craft your profile, discuss specific opportunities. We are here to help build this industry of the future. So we're answering your questions today and hoping to provide valuable feedback in order to help you understand more about the industry and how you can get your foot in the door. Most of the participants here today seem like they are interested in getting their foot in the door. They may not have cannabis experience, but that's actually what we're going to focus on a lot. You'll notice some of the questions really surround this idea of how to get into the industry without having any experience. So head over to EzHireCannabis.com. You can create your profile, and we will connect you to current open opportunities. It's a unique system. For example, one of the value adds that we pride ourselves on is including video introductions as a part of your cannabis profile. What this does is really allows you to present yourself for who you are. View this as a video cover letter. So rather than text and rather than worried about the language on the page, our hiring companies are interested in knowing who you are as a person. The number one thing that people have responded to about when they're joining a cannabis company is what the culture and the people are like. So if that's the primary concern from a candidate perspective, where you'll be working, what is the culture and who are the people you'll be working with, then from a hiring perspective, it's key that there is a fit there and there is a match. So by allowing a video introduction, which is really just a 30, 60, 90-second clip of you introducing yourself, we are offering a modern solution for a modern industry. We're not quite interested in doing the same things that have always been done, but we want to build the modern tool for this new industry. The video introductions have proven to our clients that overall, it creates a more efficient hiring timeline. So not only is this a good thing for the hiring company where it can speed up the hiring process, but for you as a candidate, you get to present yourself truly unique to who you are, which is key to building these teams of the future. So by knocking out this video introduction, you could be cutting off 10 to 14 days of the hiring timeline simply by being yourself. Imagine when you apply to a job. Sometimes there's emails that bounce back and forth or a phone call to set up another phone call. The video introduction can actually eliminate up to 2 weeks of the hiring timeline just by simply showing your face, letting the hiring company see you and hear you and be personable, especially for a dispensary type position. It's a customer service, marketing, and sales type job. You'll be talking to customers, learning about who they are, what they're interested in, and matching them to the product that would be a great fit. You should be able to present yourself on a quick video. I know it can be awkward. I've seen people do it with cats on their lap from their bedroom, sitting in their car in a parking lot, walking down the street. So really, it's about being casual and introducing yourself for who you really are, because ultimately, that's what's going to help blend these teams when you join one of these cannabis companies. So we'll jump right in here. We have a few questions from the registrants. When you register for free, we do this each week. So a lot of the questions mirror what they maybe have looked like in the past, which ultimately helps whoever's listening to here live. But you register for free, you submit your questions. I'll answer here live, as well as go through some poll results and talk to you here in the chat. If there's any additional questions that pop up, you can pop them right there in the chat, or you can follow up with me directly afterwards. Once you create your EzHire Cannabis account, I am more than welcome to have a one-on-one with you to help craft your profile and, again, review opportunities that you may be fit for. So, jumping in to this week's presentation, I wanted to start off with this stat from the previous weeks. We learned that 66% of our candidates find that having no professional experience is the number one thing they feel is holding them back from working in cannabis. Now, I'm here to tell you that that's actually a completely different thing than what our clients and our hiring companies are saying. Because in fact, you do not need to have professional experience in cannabis to get a job in cannabis. Of course, there are going to be certain roles at certain levels that do require some direct experience. However, for the most part, for example, working in a dispensary, that mirrors a retail location. So the idea of customer service, sales, marketing, inventory, being an assistant manager, managing people, managing a budget, these are things that include translatable skills and transferable experiences that are valued in cannabis. So this is a super unique scenario where we have this entirely new industry, but roles and responsibilities actually mirror many other common long-time industries. So the end product that we're selling here is different and definitely includes different sets of compliance rules and regulations and laws. But from agriculture to supply chain, transportation, retail, inventory, security, sales, these roles are happening in other industries. So there are ways to present your skills and present yourself as an interested and curious and committed candidate where a cannabis company will hire you. There are currently more than 417,000 people working in legal cannabis in the United States. Where do you think those people were working 5, 10, 15 years ago? So hopefully that allows you to just understand that this is a mindset thing for the most part. These respondents saying that they don't have professional experience, so that's holding them back. It's a mental block that you can get over, and hopefully through these conversations and through these questions and answers, we can help you push through that and help craft your profile or your language and your video introductions to set you up for success. Let's jump into this week's first question. So the first question of the week: how to get my foot in the door of a cannabis business, even if it's a step back from my previous work. So very much related to what we just talked about, thinking that not having the experience is going to hold you back from getting the job. That may be the case. And in this scenario, it kind of depends what position you're looking for. If you have a $150,000 role in finance and you're understanding that you need to take a step back to work in cannabis, that's number one. Again, that's a mindset thing. So understanding that you might need to take a step back, that's a positive thing. That, first of all, is proving that you are committed, that you are interested, and you're willing to do the work, even though it's not ultimately going to pay you what you want or be in the exact position that you have now. So this willingness is valued. The hiring teams in cannabis know that people need to, in order for this business and industry to be a success, they need to hire people from outside of the industry because there are always lessons to be learned from outside that are going to be valued and implemented here that maybe even not quite implemented yet. So once again, translatable and transferable skills. Dig into who you are. Assess who you are, what you have done, what you do well, and what you could do here. There is always a bridge to build from your experiences, whether professional experiences or just through your life, personal experiences that will help build a bridge into cannabis. Those stories are valuable. So understanding that you need to take a step back, that's awesome. That is something that is going to be valued from companies because they need those skills. They need people like you. So focus on some of the soft skills. If there are technical skills involved, again, something in a finance realm, they're needed here. So this mindset, whoever asked this question, your mindset already seems to be there. So, coming out of your cannabis career closet is a way that we've said it before. Going public with this is going to be really valuable for you because, again, hiring companies understand that they need to take candidates from other industries. So if you already have an awesome job and you're willing to take that step back, the more the merrier. Next question here. Okay. How would someone get into without prior experience? How can they stand out when they're in the process of learning the industry? Well, again, this person, whoever asked this question, your mind is in the right spot. You seem to be over this idea of having a mental barrier to entering the cannabis industry. The process of learning, this is key, okay? Especially in cannabis, the industry is continuously evolving. Just a few weeks ago, Minnesota became the 23rd state to go 21 plus adult use legalization. There are 38 states with medicinal use. That means that there are still more than half the states that have not gone completely 21 plus adult use legal. So the process of learning is exactly right. You need to engage with the industry already. You need to follow along. So this can literally mean following the right social accounts on LinkedIn. Head over at EzHire Cannabis on LinkedIn. There's tons of educational and career-based content available. Head over to inhaledigest.com. That is a subsidiary of EzHire Cannabis, where we focus on the culture and career and education of cannabis. So there's tons of newsletters and socials and documentaries and YouTube channels for you to follow along on in this process of learning. Knowing that there is a learning and development process continuously happening and proving that you're interested is valuable enough to these hiring companies. If you are someone with legacy experience, meaning that you have some direct cannabis experience, but it might not have been the legal kind, whether that is consuming to maybe packing up every once in a while and flipping some deals, just understanding the different strains, value, the pricing, packaging. If you're visiting dispensaries as part of this process of learning, just understand that now that it is legal in many states, you have the opportunity to learn a lot easier. So that's key. Once again, commitment, devotion, understanding that you want to get in. Those intentions of curiosity to join this industry and having the patience to learn while you're not currently working, that's going to be the difference maker if you're up against some other candidates. We'll keep it moving here. Next question. What are some common mistakes that new cannabis entrepreneurs make, and how can they be avoided? Okay, so moving into the entrepreneurial space, the first thing that comes to mind to me here is understanding the rules and the regulations, the laws and compliance. One of the primary hurdles in cannabis today that still exists is clearly that it is not federally legal. What this means is that cannabis companies don't have access to traditional banking resources and tools as any other company. The Section 280E is a huge hurdle. This means that businesses in cannabis cannot expense their taxes for, like what they have spent to get their business up and running and operating. Those cannot be expensed like they can be in any other industry. So financing and banking becomes a huge hurdle here. From an entrepreneurial standpoint, typically, if you're starting a business, I'm not sure what they're talking about here. This is a pretty general question, but if it's cultivation or dispensary, even the money necessary for licensing and getting approval, that requires a lot of money. And again, you won't have access to traditional loans. You need to sort of circumvent that, shore that up. But now that the process of becoming legal has gained momentum, and state by state, more and more each year are moving in this direction, there are a lot of people around who have learned the hard way. So there are other business builders and entrepreneurs that have either hopped over a few of those hurdles or completely been smashed down by them in the past. So aside from understanding, the finance and the banking aspects of it, the funding aspect, I would say that included within that would be to surround yourself with other people, other experts. You may not be that expert in tax law or finance or banking. However, there are people who are those experts. Get to know them, meet them. If you're if you are that money guy, but you don't have the cultivation experience, you better go out and you better start meeting some of the best cultivators in the world. You need to surround yourself with experts and with people who have been through it, because the circle of influence that you're going to need in order to push through is great. It's a great one. And the lessons I've learned in cannabis so far are extremely impactful to moving forward through this industry. So I would say, don't try to do this alone. What you can avoid is trying to do this alone. Get to conferences, shake hands, progressively pronounce your intentions. You need to talk about what your plans are openly and publicly. You need to get feedback from people who are in the industry, outside the industry, have experience. You need to make it known what your goals are, what your intentions are, so that you can start building these relationships and networking with the people who you need to be surrounded by in order to make it a success. Right now, a lot of the cannabis industry is members of the community holding up other members of the community, giving high fives, holding hands, holding each other up, and supporting each other. It requires that, especially on this localized level where we're at right now. So if you're looking into being an entrepreneur in the cannabis space, surround yourself with other experts. Don't do this alone. Next question we have here. I am currently in the military and would like to join the industry when I get out in the next year in about 9 months. I don't know how far I should start applying for jobs. Thank you. So that's a tricky question because you want to have a role when you come out, right? And this kind of reminds me of somebody in school, maybe trying to get an internship and start working maybe for like pennies or for free before you're able to sort of gain that full-time employment. For yourself, I'm not sure if you're even in the United States right now. You could be overseas. You could have a technical discipline that you've been learning while you were in the military. So if there's this is very general right now, but someone in the military is clearly going to be well qualified to manage a security operation. Again, that's very general, but once I'm only seeing military here, so I don't know specifics about this person. So I don't want to, overly assume anything. But if you do have a technical discipline that you've been learning and, being taught while you were in the military, that is going to be valued. So as far as the timeline here, now is probably the time to be networking, right? So getting on the socials, again, how we just talked about, follow the right people on the right socials. This is a learning and development process. The entire industry is evolving. And in 9 months, wherever you're from, or there may be another state that actually even goes legal by that time. So understanding that 9 months is a long time in this industry, but for you, the time is ripe to make the networks, make the connections. And when you're making these connections, again, pronounce what your intentions are. When you're saying hi to somebody, hey, I tell them that in March 2024, I am going to be ready for this cannabis industry. I want to get a job. Here's my availability. So ultimately, I don't think it's a bad thing if you started to apply. Somewhere like a dispensary is on a much shorter timeline than 9 months out. But submitting an application and a cover letter or a video introduction using EzHire Cannabis is going to allow you to, again, announce and make it known when you are going to be available. And knowing that you want to be involved now is going to be a good thing overall. So I would focus on the networking right now and the relationship building and gearing up for when you're, 2 to 3 months out to being available to work. The networking thing, though, can totally start right now, and I totally recommend you get on that. So I appreciate you. You're doing it right now. You're here. You submitted questions. You're clearly learning. So again, jump on inhaledigest.com, subscribe for the newsletter, follow EzHire Cannabis on LinkedIn, create your EzHireCannabis.com profile right now, and that's only going to increase your experiences. Maybe you end up even having an interview or two, not even know that you won't be available for quite some time. The intentions and that commitment and understanding that this is something that you want to be a part of is something valued in the industry. Another question we have here, other than bud tending or cultivation, what other job opportunities are there in the cannabis industry that exist? So I actually just put out an article last week, and it surrounds this concept of jobs outside of the dispensary. I will pull this article up right now, and I once again will follow up with this inside of the resource email that I'll follow up with. So we have working in cannabis outside of the dispensary. I'll kind of zip through this quick. Once again, I'll leave you the link, but there's cultivation, right? Some cultivation facilities are not involved in the actual dispensary. Scrolling further here, manufacturing. This includes roles such as extraction techniques, product developers, and packaging specialists. Research, scientists, doctors, pharmacists. Education, teachers, trainers, writers. Government, so this includes regulators and policy analysts, lawyers. Finance, there's accountants and bankers and investors. Again, this is a very quickly fast growing industry that needs people with experience from other industries to make their mark and implement them here. Marketing, copywriters, graphic designers, social media managers, sales, account executives, sales reps, distributors, customer service, call center reps, customer support, delivery drivers. So again, you can see how there are other roles that are outside of the dispensary, and that's actually going to be super valuable to somebody, again, who has experience somewhere else. The dispensary itself really mirrors a retail environment. So if you think about that, the entire industry is really full spectrum, right? Agriculture, transportation, supply chain, security, retail, marketing, packaging, all of this. So hopefully this just gets your, creative juices flowing, and you can understand that there are so many other roles out there. I want to network and seek managerial positions in the industry. What's the approach here? Okay, so networking and seeking managerial positions. This is what we've been talking about the whole time here so far. So managing, do you have experience, right? This is not going to be an entry level type job. If you're looking for a manager type role, you're probably expected to have been a manager somewhere else somehow, managing people, managing a budget, managing different timelines, project management. All of this is really key. So networking, if you're coming from a different industry, especially, you need to come out of that cannabis career closet. You need to pronounce that you're interested in this arena. So again, this includes following socials, subscribing for different newsletters, activate your conversations around this space. Comment online, post and share articles, ask questions, network by going to different events. I will include an events newsletter in the resources page, going to different conferences, expos, consumption events. You need to go to where the people are. So this community is very real. It's very genuine. There are many people that are currently working in a legal side of cannabis who are legacy operators. So these are people who worked in cannabis far before it was legal, meaning they cared so much about this industry and belief in the plan that they were literally risking their livelihoods. So now that it is accessible and it is legal in many places, you have to understand that it's okay to say that you want to be a part of this industry. It is not a bro-y stoner culture business anymore. In 2022, revenues nearly reached $30 billion. And in 2023, that number is expected to increase to $34 billion. Once again, more than 417,000 people are currently employed in the legal market. So understanding these data points that are maybe relative to someone who is naive to the industry, 23 states are legal, 38 include medicinal. In the coming years, those numbers are only going to increase. The revenue is going to increase. The people working in it is going to increase. The number of businesses operating, the number of states that are legal. So although the industry is operating, we're nowhere near full capacity. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be challenges. There are going to be companies that, get lost in the shuffle or get shut down and just don't ultimately succeed. But like any industry, there are the pioneers that are going to push through. So if you're really interested, you need to sort of prove that willingness and that commitment and that interest by starting to network publicly and focusing on your learning and development. See if we have any more questions here. All right, don't be a dope. This is our cannabis career advice. So all the questions that we've been talking about here, we like to wrap them up. We throw them in videos. We share them on our socials. And I kind of just wanted to, make sure that everybody was aware of EzHire Cannabis on LinkedIn. So here's where we're posting constantly. We're sharing this education. And you can see that, we don't want you to be a dope. We want to help you learn and understand what's happening in the industry. We have our YouTube channel full of videos where we focus on this education and the culture of the industry and help people like yourself learn about it so that you can get a career and can move into the space. So as far as I'm here today, I just want to say thank you once again, Jeff, Chief Community Officer from EzHire Cannabis. We hope these answered your questions well today. Look out for that follow-up resources. Once you create your EzHire Cannabis profile, we will send out these resources. We'll connect one-on-one, and I'll help you craft your profile. I'll help you dig into the industry, learn what you don't know, and help connect you to opportunities. And let's do this. Let's build this industry of the future today through the people who are going to be working in it. Thank you so much. Peace.